Welcome back to another episode of the Pop Culture Discussion. I'm your host, Robert, and today we are reviewing Hogwarts Legacy. Before this game came out, my main complaint with it was that it didn't have multiplayer. It is a single player experience only, and I was like, that's a missed opportunity. Why would you do that? To be honest, after about 4 hours into this game, I was like, this game does not need to be multiplayer. This is absolutely a single player experience, and I am extremely happy with that. The way that the story is laid out and with the style of combat, this game absolutely benefits on only being single player. So I will admit I was absolutely wrong in complaining about that. This is the first PS5 game I have legitimately stopped my character and just looked around and just walked through the map and just taken everything in. When I play video games, I go, what's the run button? Let's go. I want to get through this game as quick as I can, just power through it. I want to finish the level. I want to finish the side quest. I want to collect everything. Let's go. Let's smash through this. And I just don't really stop and be like, oh my gosh, look at this. This is incredible. But I was doing that for like the first maybe 3 hours of this game. I was going through super casually, just jogging around like, wow, this is incredible. Look at Hogwarts, everything. What? Like, I just couldn't believe how lively this world was. The last game I personally have found this lively was Red Dead Redemption 2. And for those of you who have played that game, they know how insanely lively that world is. It feels like it's lived in. These people don't just feel like NPCs that are just standing there that you just walk up to and they go, oh, I have a mission for you. Can you go do this for me? It feels like in Red Dead Redemption 2 and this game, they are just going about their lives. And you just walk up to them, have a conversation with them, and they have an issue and you're like, oh, cool. You want me to give you a hand with that? And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? So it just feels so much more natural and lived in and realistic. And it creates one of the most immersive video games I have played in a very long time. Now, I wasn't really like the biggest Harry Potter fan going into this game. I haven't read the books. I've seen, all the Harry Potter movies. I've seen the Fantastic Beasts movies, and I thought they were fine. I was like, these are just fun fantasy movies. Like, I never understood the hype that Harry Potter had on the world. But after playing this game, I absolutely understand the hype now. I'm like, okay, I get why the Wizarding World of Harry Potter is the favorite franchise of so many people now. I was just like, this game just blew my mind. The amount of content and detail that was just put into this game, it just felt like I was in a completely different world. And to have that feeling, I was like, oh, this is the feeling that people get when they read those books and watch those movies. I'm getting that now through this game. And to the point where I'm actually rewatching the Harry Potter movies with my fiance at the moment, because while playing this game, I was like, man, I need to rewatch those movies. Like, I feel like I'm missing out in having memories of these movies and being like, yeah, they're fine. Like, but rewatching them, I am enjoying them way more since playing this game. And I will have a YouTube video coming out later ranking those. We haven't finished them yet, so when that's done, I'll do that. So that's something to keep an eye out for if you're a fan of the Harry Potter franchise. The world building, exploration, and Hogwarts itself are the absolute true highlights of this game here. They are just so detailed and beautifully realistic that just walking through the main town or just through Hogwarts, just taking it all in, it just feels so real. And I know I've already mentioned how lively and immersive this game is, but at the end of the day, if I had one word to describe this game, it would be immersive. Like, just walking through Hogwarts and seeing the paintings move, and just seeing the knights that are standing there move, and the cats walking around, the students going to class, the amount of detail just put in there was just like, oh my gosh. And there's so many little hidden rooms everywhere, so many little puzzles, little things you can find, little shortcuts, all the stairs just magically appearing in front of you as you're going to class. Like, it's so beautiful. The Room of Requirement is one of the coolest things I have ever seen in any game ever. It's crazy. The amount of customization that is in this room. You basically just turn this room into a house. Being able to make my own rooms, being able to brew my own potions, being able to grow my own plants, being able to customize my clothing. And then on top of all that, we have like 3 separate rooms that open up into an outside world where you can capture beasts, fantastic beasts, and let them loose in your world. And then you can breed them and you can feed them and you can play with them. It's just like, what? All of this is happening in one room, and that's just one little segment of this game. Like, that's how detailed this thing is. Like, I could just spend an hour or two in this one room alone, let alone the entire world of this game. It's just mind-blowing. The amount of effort and love and respect for the source material that was put into this game. I am so glad that this game is just selling out everywhere, because the amount of effort that the developers put into this game absolutely shows off. You can tell that they have so much love for the source material and they are putting in every single part that they possibly can. Speaking of every part they possibly can, you can cast every single spell from the Harry Potter world in this game. The combat is slick, stylish, and super satisfying. And you can literally go about it almost any way you want. You could literally just run in with simple spells and just throw enemies about the field until they just collapse. Or my personal favorite is kind of turning enemies' weapons against themselves, just disarming an enemy and then grabbing their weapon out of midair and throwing it straight back into them. Or if an enemy throws something at you, catching it and throwing it back. Or I would just run into a group and then I would just blast out all the unforgivable curses and just absolutely wreck all of them. And you can chain all of these together as well. And being able to use not only spells in combat, but if you don't want to go that route, if you want to go stealth, you can do the John Cena spell, turn invisible. Yes, it might take a little longer because you're crouching around and you got to try and hope that nobody sees you. But at the same time, if you're not a fan of stealth, you can just run in guns blazing. I'm not going to lie though, this game is insanely overwhelming. The amount of content that it gives you is crazy. But luckily, there are a whole heap of tutorials that make things so much easier. And they really pace out the tutorials as well. They'll give you a tutorial and then they'll give you a whole heap of gameplay for like 5 hours, and then they'll hit you with a new tutorial and then another whole 5 hours of gameplay and then another tutorial. They don't just give you like 5 hours of tutorials to begin with and they're like, remember this, now here is 40 hours of gameplay. No, they really spread it out between basically every 5 hours of gameplay, which I thought was way better, because then not only are you overwhelmed by the world, but you're going to be overwhelmed by the tutorial. The map is pretty easy to read and it does lay everything out for you pretty simply. I think it was a really smart idea of the developers to set this before Harry Potter. Setting it during Harry Potter and having those characters there, you might have fans being like, oh, why would you do that with this character? That character would never do that. And then you're just gonna upset people. And then setting it after Harry Potter, you're gonna have people be like, why didn't you put the Harry Potter characters in this? They would have just been a little bit older. But no, setting it before Harry Potter is fantastic. They had all these original characters that they could do whatever they wanted with. Hogwarts Legacy is the mission structure of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt with the lively world of Red Dead Redemption 2. And I do not say that lightly, because those two games are some of the greatest video games of all time, in my opinion. So comparing this game to those two shows just how incredible this game is. This is absolutely a must-play. Not only for Harry Potter fans, obviously for Harry Potter fans, but just for gamers in general. If you want the most immersive experience that makes you feel like a wizard, this is the go-to. 100%. Before I give my final rating though, I do have some nitpicks or kind of warnings for new players of the game, because I'm sure watching this video you were like, this game sounds perfect.
Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
There is nothing wrong with this game. I do have a couple of things that I was like, oh, they probably could have fixed that through either a patch or a sequel. First of all, the flying on the broom is a little bit stiff. When you first jump on your broom, if you were just flying straight up and forward and going to a destination, no problem, works perfectly fine. But when you need to steer real quick, like you're trying to do a race or you're trying to get through a certain section or like through under a tunnel, yeah, It's not great.
Steering's a little loose! Ah! Alignment's off too!
To the point where there's no Quidditch in this game, and I feel like that's probably part of why I don't think they really perfected the flying on the broom. That might be part of the reason why they didn't bother putting Quidditch in this game. Because if they did, it might have been a bit of a glitchy mess and people would have just complained about it. So that's something that could absolutely be improved in a sequel.
I'm sorry.
Do not be sorry. Be better.
There are so many spider fights in this game. If you hate giant spiders, good luck with a handful of these missions, because yeah, you are fighting giant spiders on the regular here. You do fight a whole handful of enemies, but spiders are a big part of that, and yeah, I hate spiders, so I'm not gonna lie, it was rough. Especially their attacks. Their attacks are so creepy. They like dig into the ground and then they jump up underneath you and they're just like, surprise! And I'm like, damn it! Like, oh, it's so gross, and I'm just like, ugh, every time I play. So yeah, and then you have to fight like boss spiders as well, which are massive. If you don't have a problem with spiders, this probably isn't a nitpick for you like at all. But yeah, for me, oof.
That was scary!
There's a haunted mansion mission in this game that is so creepy, like to the point of scary. Like that mission felt like a horror game, which is, yeah, there are some horror themes in the Wizarding world, but yeah, if you're buying this for your kids and your kids get nightmares from that, I guess this was my warning. It's a great mission, don't get me wrong, it's one of the best missions in the game, but it's scary as hell, so yeah. I don't know if it's just my terrible sense of direction, but there were so many times I was in a cave or in a dungeon or something, I'd do the mission, and then you have to leave the way that you went in, and then the map doesn't show you, and it's really annoying. You just kind of have to figure it out, and I don't know how much time I wasted doing laps, going through tunnels, being like, man, I don't know my way out of here, this is the worst. So yeah, maybe like, I don't know, maybe once you've done your objective, the map should just tell you where to go to get out of there. Yes, there's a little marker that points where the exit is, but how you get there, map doesn't tell you. So pretty easy to get lost and a little frustrating sometimes. So yeah, that was just more annoying than anything. And then speaking of that as well, sometimes you're just on the ground and where you need to get to is underground and it just trips the map out. Like the map tells you this is where you go and it shows you a yellow line on how to get there. And then you get there and then the map's like, no, wait, this isn't where you're meant to be underneath this. And I'm like, okay, cool, show me where the stairs are. And then the map just doesn't. So yeah, also just more annoying than anything. In saying all of those little nitpicks, this game is still a 10 out of 10 for me. It was just incredible. This is an absolute must play. I cannot say that enough. Even if you're not that big on Harry Potter, like just check this out like for a fantasy wizard game. This is the most immersive experience you'll ever get exploring the wizarding world of Harry Potter. If you've ever read the books, watched the movies, or just been like, oh, that'd be a cool world to go explore, this is your opportunity to do that. And it's so satisfying. It ticks all of the boxes and I cannot recommend it enough. Thanks for watching my review and I will see you in the next video.